NEMA officials still on the defensive. Save Our South reached its goal, and Prime Minister Perry Christie revealed that repair and relief efforts left behind after Hurricane Joaquin are at $60 million and counting. Find out about those stories and others. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and welcome to the Tribune's Top 5. The criticisms of NEMA have continued to pour in, and despite this, officials there say there's nothing they would have done differently. During a press briefing on Monday, NEMA's First Assistant Secretary, Crystal Glinton, said everyone on the Disaster Preparedness Committee did their jobs as they had been trained to do all year. However, she admitted to reporters that NEMA officials did not go into the southern and central islands immediately following the monster storm because the focus was on ensuring that NEMA assessors would be free from danger as they carried out initial assessments. Hurricane Joaquin beat down on the central and southern Bahamas more than a week ago, leaving behind damage in Auckland, San Salvador, Crooked Island, Long Island, Rum Key, and Long Key. Approximately 5,000 people were affected by the Category 4 storm. Ms. Clinton said, quote, "Persons have mentioned that we didn't go out initially, but we could not because we had to ensure that the airports were safe for us to go out. We didn't wish to have our assessors. There were no fatalities, and then when we sent out our assessors, there would be fatalities. NEMA did our job. All of the persons on the ground from the Emergency Support Function Group, they are professionals, and they went out and did all the assessments like they were mandated to do," end quote. Asked by a reporter if anything could have been done differently, she said, quote, "No, I can honestly stand here and say no, in my opinion. I have a director, but we speak as a body, all of us," end quote. The devastation left behind by Category 4 Hurricane Joaquin has prompted the Progressive Liberal Party to postpone its highly anticipated convention until next year, Party Chairman Bradley Roberts announced on Tuesday. The party planned to hold its convention early next month when all executive positions would have been open to be contested. However, given the current circumstances, Mr. Roberts said a new tentative date of April 2016 has been set. The decision came following a convention committee meeting on Tuesday evening, where it was decided that it would be best to postpone the political event as the affected islands needed the government's full attention. Mr. Roberts said, quote, "The general public is advised that the leadership of the Progressive Liberal Party has accepted the recommendation of the convention committee and has agreed to postpone the planned national convention scheduled for the first week in November until 2016. The party's leadership has determined that the level of devastation caused by Hurricane Joaquin and the scope of the recovery, the rebuilding, and restoration efforts, especially of the physical infrastructure, necessarily require the full attention and focus of the government at this time. Bringing a measure of normalcy and comfort to the lives of the residents of the southern Bahamas and assisting them with rebuilding their lives and their communities are of paramount importance to the government at this time," end quote. His statement came after Prime Minister Perry Christie suggested on Tuesday that he would not have any reservations about postponing the convention, saying the country was in the midst of grappling with mass devastation. Friends of the Bahamas immediately kicked into action following the passage of Hurricane Joaquin. This resulted in Save Our South reaching its goal. There was an extraordinary public response to appeals for help for the family islands devastated by Hurricane Joaquin, which resulted in the $500,000 target of donations of cash and emergency supplies set by the SOS Save Our South initiative being exceeded. This has allowed Head Knowles, the relief group, to plan for the next phase of operation. The Public Relations Director of Head Knowles announced on Monday that the goal had been met. The last of the weekend emergency relief flights, funded by Save the Bays, went to Rum Key and Long Island on Monday, and from Tuesday, the Furniture Plus distribution center was emptied and containers with the remaining emergency supplies shipped by the mailboat to affected islands. At least 5 40-foot containers donated by Mike Mora, the president and CEO of Nassau Container Port, will be filled and dispatched over the next couple of days. The second phase of the operation, codenamed Deliverance, will focus on the rebuilding of the islands, saving and repairing homes, Head Knowles said. Under the direction of Andrew Knowles, owner of Island Cellular, Head Knowles has established accounts at building suppliers JBR, Tops Lumber and Plumbing, and Pinder Enterprises to which people can donate credits towards acquiring the necessary materials. Discussions are also underway with FYP Builders Mall, the organization said. The account name for donations is Head Knowles Hurricane Relief, and the appropriate materials will be shipped out from Nassau. The Tribune Media Group and its president Robert Caron were also thanked for its support and that of its listeners and readers. Only 8 web shop operators have been awarded conditional gaming house operator licenses with the disqualified applicant ordered to close its business in less than 2 weeks, Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe announced on Thursday night. Mr. Wilshcombe, the minister with responsibility for gaming, said of the 9 web shops that submitted requests for proposals or RFPs to the government, Bet Vegas did not meet the critical standards and benchmarks that related to each applicant's qualification and eligibility to hold a gaming house operator license, as well as attributes central to the current and prospective financial viability of the applicant. And by virtue of its disqualification, Bet Vegas was also found lacking the capacity to create and maintain employment and generate tax revenue. The effective closure date for Bet Vegas is October 26, 2015, Mr. Wilshcombe said. Meanwhile, the list of successful applicants are FML Web Shop, Ashore Win, Chances Games, Paradise Games, Island Luck, Percy's at the Island Game, Asu Draw Plus Spin, and Bahama Dreams. According to Mr. Wilshcombe, those companies must now complete a series of regulatory requirements before receiving a plenary gaming house operator license. Prime Minister Perry Christie says Hurricane Joaquin relief efforts are likely to exceed $60 million. Prime Minister Perry Christie said on Wednesday that while officials continue to visit the Family Islands hardest hit by Hurricane Joaquin to glean an accurate picture of the devastation, the initial assessment has pegged the price tag of damage at well over $60 million. This figure, he said, is expected to increase as the Ministry of Finance continues to receive additional assessments. Mr. Christie said the amount needed to cover the costs of this recovery and repair phase is likely to be funded through borrowing from either the Caribbean Development Bank, financing from the People's Republic of China, or by traditional sourcing. He had initially said the damage resulting from the Category 4 storm would amount to tens of millions of dollars. During a more than 2-hour-long press conference at his West Bay Street offices, Mr. Christie said, quote, "When I looked at some of the figures, we were over $60 million and we still are having assessments come in. So clearly, when I indicated tens of millions of dollars without having any idea of the cost of the infrastructure replacements necessary, I knew that we were in that ballpark. It is important for me to indicate that the Ministry of Finance had officials go from house to house. They are submitting reports and making assessments to the necessary infrastructure." He continued, "I have already asked the Ministry of Finance to review opportunities for borrowing money from the Caribbean Development Bank, and there are monies available through financing from the Chinese to the region and other traditional sources because of the country. We cannot wait." End quote. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com. Like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242.